This is Frank Skinner. This is
Absolute Radio.
This is Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio with Emily Dean and Pierre Novelli. You can text the show on 81215, follow the show on Twitter and Instagram at Frank on the Radio. Email the show via frank at absoluteradio.co.uk.
Guess what, Frank?
Thursday.
Oh, close, but not quite.
What if that had been right?
That would have been terrifying.
Oh man, the whole atmosphere of the show would have changed if that had been the right answer. You'd have been afraid of me.
Eerie.
I've just noticed they've been quick. They've already changed your Wikipedia to include your MBE.
Have they really? I never look at my Wikipedia because I imagine it'll say stuff that will bring me to my knees physically.
The reason I do, I'm not proud of this, I do it sometimes just to check your birthday. It's quite handy.
Oh, yeah, that is a good... Yeah, no one has really got any reason for missing my birthday.
Okay.
But they find them. Oh, they find them. Oh, I only just about made it this morning, people of Britain, because... and there'll be other people listening as well.
People of Britain.
I'm standing in the middle. I'm standing in the middle of my road, looking for the car.
Yeah.
I've got Lucy, the assistant producer, saying, "No, he's outside your house. He's told me." And I said, "Well, I have got a bad sense of direction, but I can find the way from my house to the pavement outside my house." Anyway, the bloke was like 10 or 15 minutes late, and I recently. Filmed a documentary series about the 18th century writers Alexander Pope and Jonathan Swift. And I had, for 3 weeks, I had a car home and a car back every day, and 3 of them arrived at the right place and the right time out of all those. And at no point did I ever get an explanation or apology of any kind. So this morning I thought, he's not going to say anything at all, the bloke. It was 15 minutes. So I got in, and we're not talking, in case you have a picture of me in a deluxe limo.
It's
we're
really
talking
not. I've seen it.
You know those magic trees where the scent went out of them in 1997? Yes. It's one of those.
The cars you get almost look like they'd have those beaded seat covers.
Yeah, I haven't seen one of those for a while. I think that's just the way the nylon comes up on the seat covers. But anyway, so the bloke said absolutely nothing, and I said absolutely nothing, because I now accept that being late and in the wrong place is such a commonplace to these blokes that I should know. I would no further speak about that than I would about the rising and the setting of the sun. It is not a conversational piece. It's just something that happens over and over and over. So no, he didn't say sorry. I was 15 minutes late. I was in completely the wrong place. He didn't say anything. And I've come to accept it. They've broken my spirit.
Do you think there's some sort of policy where if they're sort of on the advice of their lawyers, if they admit it, then you get some sort of refund or something? So they're told to just play it straight. I
think they've just got bored of speaking about that which is perpetual.
Is it? Yes. Is it a bit like when you're always given that advice, aren't you? If you have an accident, never say sorry when you get out of your car. You know, people always say that to you.
You know
Don't apologise. So
I've got no idea now. If I was in a road accident, I have no idea what you do anymore. Someone told me you don't exchange phone numbers. I don't exchange phone numbers. I said, a bloke drives into my car and 2 weeks later he's saying, "Can you do a charity do in Brentford?" On my phone. No. I don't give him... What am I going to give him my agent's number?
What would you do?
Good, yeah.
I think you'd call your PA.
Yeah, but, I think she's on work to rule at the moment, so I've got to get her within her hours. Honestly don't know what I'd do. What do you do now if you have a car crash?
I had one.
I'm talking about a prang. I'm talking about prangs. I'm not talking about if I'm being cut out with oxyacetylene equipment. Should I give them my phone number?
What I believe the Americans referred to as a fender bender.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Talking about a fender bender?
Yeah, I thought that was Uri Geller's tour name.
It's the big finale for Uri Geller. It's
Yeah, exactly.
spoons all the way up till Fender.
Yeah, so wait till you get to your cars on the car park. You will see the last part of my show. Yeah. I don't know. Was there a question?
No, it was to do with accidents. It was to do with road accidents, and you were wondering what one does in that situation.
I don't know what. Do you still exchange? I mean, there'll be loads of people out.
Well, I had one not long ago, Frank. Their fault. I didn't apologise. The gentleman was charming. Oh, he did apologise. He was so
Okay.
clearly in the wrong. I'm so sorry. My insurance company called me. This is exciting radio. My insurance company called me and said, I'm afraid he's denying any responsibility.
Yeah, that's what usually happens. Because people don't have the actual guts to say, actually, no, I'm not going to take anything. They go, oh, yeah, no. Yeah. Anyway, don't get me wrong, I love everyone because they're all God's children.
Frank Skinner on
Absolute Radio.
Listen, I very, very nearly bought some clogs this week. I mean, I tried a pair on. I was that close. And I did that thing. And they were quite... Obviously, I wouldn't buy some of those. I was in Amsterdam, by the way, in case anyone's confused. I tried some clogs on at a clog factory. I went on a clog factory. I went on a day trip, which included a cheese factory, a clog factory, and then some windmills. What country was I in? That's how I should have started this.
Wow.
Did you go on your own, or did your family?
No, I took my family as well.
Did you have a breakfast of tulips?
No.
And tiny waffles?
The tulip season, of course, is April.
When you say, of course.
Yes. Oh, I wouldn't have known that. You know, it's still that Holland's, or the Netherlands, I guess, biggest export is still tulip bulbs.
Gosh.
It's the most medieval thing I've ever heard. Anyway, so I tried them on, and you can get, I mean, I don't know if you've ever seen clogs for sale. But often they've got a gloss finish and a picture of a windmill and stuff. Obviously, I wouldn't wear that. So I found some sort of like natural, unpainted.
Oh, right.
ones.
Oh,
You know,
Sort of a
you went back to
unfinished-
basics.
A low profile clogs.
Unfinished kitchen floor, like, just get back down to the boards.
Exactly.
Right.
And it was like that. And I thought, you know, and I was
That's his
thinking
slight
to
hair shirt
myself,
thing.
I would wear these in London. I was, you know, when does this in what I call a naive holiday purchase.
Yes.
Where you're just wrapped up in the moment, you know. You're in, I don't know, Indonesia, and a local novelist has written 12 detective novels set in Jakarta, and you buy the box set. You think, oh, what I'm going to read about, that's forever. Next week later, person at Oxfam shop saying, well, we can't really shift these. But anyway, so I came that close, and then I thought to myself, I don't want to do one of those naive holiday purchases.
No.
So but I'm not far enough out of it now to not be thinking, maybe I should have got those clogs.
You have clog
What if
regret.
I'd come in clogs today? It would have been worth it for that, wouldn't it?
It would have sounded like you were knocking to come in as you came in.
Yeah, it would look like I was leading a horse up the stairs because I'd given up on the car.
Did you see anyone wearing? Do people wear them out and about, the clogs? No.
I didn't see any. I'm told that the cattle farmers still wear them because if a cow stands on your foot, you're glad you're wearing a clog.
Oh.
And also because they're wooden and the land is very wet because it's been reclaimed from the sea, they're waterproof, and they even have a slight floating element to them.
I worry that the croc has somewhat invaded their territory.
The croc is the space age clog,
It's a space age.
but not waterproof. I mean, the material is waterproof, but obviously they've got quite a lot of holes in.
Yes, clogs are not breathable, I suppose.
No, well, they're wood though.
What did you wear them with? Were you wearing them with a jean?
You have to wear them with a thick woolen sock.
No, but what was
You
your
can't go
attire?
barefoot.
Did you have a jean on?
It wouldn't be one for the hipsters. You couldn't go clog and barefoot, no socks.
You'd have to go ankle sock bare minimum.
But what about if I'd come back and within a week everyone in London wanted clogs?
where you kick something off, some terrible
Yeah,
plague.
I think that could.
picture
I
this-
think that could happen.
Renewable.
So look, I did buy cheese, and I did buy a Hard Rock Cafe Amsterdam T-shirt. So I didn't completely give in,
I thought you were going to say windmill.
but I didn't buy a Van Gogh notebook or the Diary of Anne Frank or any marijuana. So I was pretty, resistant.
Did you bring the cheese back on the plane? That was nice.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
I
that's
went for
considerate.
1,000-day-old goat cheese.
How did that go down well on your flight?
Oh, I don't know whether it's the cheese is 1,000-day-old or the goat. It's not clear in the punctuation. But I'll keep you posted. But what's your unwisest, naive holiday purchase? Something you bought where you thought, oh yeah, I'll use this all the time when I get home, and then think, oh, why did I get that? 8, 12, 15.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
Can I have my first confession of the morning?
Please.
I think you're in the wrong place for that, but nice to see you.
I have been aware of the popular group Depeche Mode for what would it be? 40 years? That long, do you think?
Yeah.
I don't know what Depeche Mode means. I've never looked that up. I've never asked anyone who speaks French what it means. I've just let it go.
Yeah.
Depeche is hurry, isn't it? Depeche toi.
Hurry.
Doesn't that mean hurry up? Hurry up.
So mode is fashion, is it?
Fast fashion.
Fast fashion.
We've worked it out. I love us.
It's rubbish. I wish I hadn't bothered.
It's about Primark.
It's like that other thing that's haunted my whole life, the second line of Frosty the Snowman. When I found it out, it was something so tedious, I forgot it again.
Well, 10 Hail Marys.
Yeah.
And I think you're in the clear.
That's true. I think, well, just because it's called, just because they did Personal Jesus, it's no time, there's no link. We've had some response to my, what do you do when you have a prang? Every time I say prang, I stop myself and say, this is a clean word, isn't it?
Yes, it does have that air about it.
It sounds like it, yeah, it sounds grubby.
Well, Iona Faz, one of our regulars.
Oh, yeah.
Morning all, I once purchased a leather backpack in Turkey. It had a very strong smell, which when I got home dominated my entire room. My best friend still often references the leather backpack whenever a bad smell passes.
Yes.
It's been 8 years. So,
Well, that's very tempting. I was in Africa and I bought, where was I? Ghana. And I bought, those things where if you swing them around, birds peck like a table tennis bat. Have you ever seen those things? It's got like a ball on it. It makes wooden birds peck.
oh yes, yes.
Yeah, have you seen those?
I
Exactly
have
what you mean.
absolutely no clue what this is.
Okay, well, you'll Google it.
It's
I
not
know.
your world.
Can we have that? Can you just sample that for me? Yeah, not knowing something. Yeah, that's left me a little uneasy, as if the floor has moved beneath my feet.
A wooden ball that, so you spin it and it moves a little
It's
puppet
like,
thing.
as I remember it, it's like a table tennis bat, and as you
Yes.
swing the thing, there's wooden birds that peck. I remember buying one
Do
of
you not
those.
know it?
I've probably made them peck 2 times in the next 20 years.
Yeah, starving, hungry wooden birds.
We were playing with that. You were probably reading the Doomsday book or something.
Yes, yeah. Yes.
I know exactly the thing you mean, and it's fabulous.
All right.
Yeah, well, it isn't though, is it? You buy one thinking, I've got to have one of these.
I quite like it.
How can I live without one of these?
And obviously, we always got the flamenco dancer.
Oh, yeah.
When if anyone would go to Spain, which they did in the 70s, that was where everyone went.
Not in my family, they didn't.
Oh, did they not?
When I was growing up, I knew one man who'd been abroad, and he'd been sent to Tripoli when he was in the army. That was it. I didn't know anyone who'd been abroad at all.
That's
So-
the military service.
Yeah, exactly. He had no choice.
Was he
didn't have
just
to pay.
different to the one man who had the car? Oh,
Actually,
There was a-
no, it was the same man.
Whoa, okay,
Yeah.
so he was the real...
He was a sort of Indiana Jones, if you live where we lived. He had a car and he'd been abroad once.
Gosh.
Yeah. Yeah, he was... I don't think we ever completely trusted him for that.
Yeah.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
I was asking what you do if you have a prang in your car. I genuinely don't know. It's a thing you should know if you're driving around.
Yeah. Well, sometimes it's nice on the show when we get a reply that is, I would say, austere. Facts only. No messing about.
Wouldn't it? I'd like to have a stage persona that I did for like 10 minutes in my set. It was called Fred Austere, who came on. It was very sort of dry and serious about stuff, and then danced, and then left, and then I come back on and talked rude for the remaining 50 minutes.
Or you sort of combine it, do a sort of soft chew while reading out global warming statistics.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I think that's a good,
I love that.
good opener.
As I think Brian Eno said in The King's Lead Hat, it will come, it will come, it will surely come.
Yeah. Well,
Okay.
240 is our Fred Austere.
Okay.
The insurance company tells them to deny any responsibility. The best way is to record a voice note from the offender on site as he apologises with photos.
That's
for any move.
That's quite brave to start filming someone like that.
It feels quite aggressive.
Voice
to
note.
thrust the.
Voice note, but he's bugging himself. You turn the voice note on. He had to put it in your pocket.
Oh, so you don't. How do you do all that though? When you've just been cut out with oxyacetylene
Well,
equipment?
we've established you haven't.
Oh no, you haven't. Sorry, that was
We've said
another.
This is for a prank.
It's a fender
This is a
bender.
prank. Yes, of course. Yes.
We've also heard from 854. I had a fairly big prang recently.
Okay.
The lady immediately got out and said sorry and admitted she wasn't wearing her glasses.
Wow.
Great for me. The odd thing about the crash was that I did not swear once. My dash cam actually recorded me saying, "Oh dear." This is completely different to my usual personality. It must have been the shock. That was from 854.
But could she not do exactly the same thing and her insurance company will phone up and say, no, she never said that.
That's the thing, these people lie.
She was wearing her glasses.
Well, it depends how good the dash cam is, I suppose.
Or she was wearing contact lenses. People are very honest in the I was in a prang, and a man got out and started prodding me in the chest and said, "You pulled that." And I said, "Mate, you really need to stop doing that because I'm very worked up and I don't know how I might respond to it." So he stopped. And this is, I swear to you, this is true. We were talking, looking back, it was completely my fault. Right, there is no question about that. But of course, I defended myself. And he said, "Well, you just pulled out right in front of me. You just pulled." I said, No, I didn't. I said, you were too far across. And his wife wound down the window and said, No, it was you did pull out. And I said, "How all occasions do inform against me," which is a line from Hamlet. And the bloke said, "Look, there's no need to inform anybody. We can sort this out." I swear to you, that is what happened. I ended up giving him 20 quid to cover the dent. He clearly had no insurance, the bloke, I realised later. But anyway,
Why are you quoting Hamlet during a car accident?
I would say I was teaching A-level at the time, and I was teaching A-level Hamlet, so Hamlet was very much in my head.
Yeah.
But the bloke was not teaching Hamlet as far as I could tell. He was teaching the non-payment of tax, and he got what he deserved. Poetry. Well, blank verse.
Frank Skinner.
Absolute Radio.
I'll tell you what, though, it's never worn off for me, because that's how I've been in Amsterdam this week. Something that, from when I first went abroad, probably whatever it was, 30 years ago, I still love watching television made by places like the Netherlands.
Yes.
There was a music show that was on in the evening, and there would be shows where an act would come on. Everybody is like old. All the singers are much older. Ageism doesn't seem to be such a thing. Seems to be a reverse.
I might look into it.
So what you get, there's groups like 10 blokes all in their 50s. And the songs are like these sing-along, Fyr faren here, si faren fyra here, Fyr faren here, and they're all drinking beer and stuff. Fyr faren si. And you think, I can't believe this exists. Who would be interested in this? And then it pans to the audience. There's like 20,000 people in the studio. There's like endless people singing along. It was a great bit, because you get those sort of... There's one video of blokes like that, and it's just close-ups of blokes drinking beer and it like dripping off their chin. We had a drink twice, and they're just throwing it down them. It's disgusting. And then you get a bloke who'll come out, a bloke about 50-odd, and go... I love the world, and sing it in English, and you'll get women crying in the audience. They cut to one fabulous moment in the audience. It was like a rock and roll band, of course, and there was people dancing. There was one bloke sitting, you could see in the audience, who literally had his hands over his ears.
It sounds like sort of Saturday night TV in 1974.
Yes, and then you cut to a chat show where it's like they're discussing... I don't know what they're discussing, I don't speak Dutch. But there'll be a bloke who's got like a fur jacket and orange glasses and long hair, bloke about 70, who's been taken completely seriously in some conversation. I think, well, who is this bloke? Who everyone is listening to as if he isn't... mad. It's brilliant.
It's the thing with other countries' celebrities, because there's always so much context to explain.
Yeah.
Where you sort of say, you said to a Dutch person, so who's this? And they go, well, he's Peter Polder. Peter Polder. Oh, everyone loves him. And they sort of explain that he hosted a show about rescuing animals. And then also he...
Yeah, exactly.
Well, the names become, like when I went to France, they were saying, you don't know Clog?
Yeah.
I'm not familiar with Clog.
I had this conversation about Vil Glahe, the accordionist, when I was in Germany once. Vil Glahe is not big in England. Oh, man.
This is like when I moved here and had to learn about Noel Edmonds.
Yeah, well, obviously that's tough.
This is Frank Skinner. This is
Absolute Radio.
This is Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio with Emily Dean and Pierre Novelli. You can text the show on 81215. Follow the show on Twitter and Instagram at Frank on the Radio. Email, I've got a little bit of banana on my lip and I just can't shift it. Email the show via frank@absoluteradio.co.uk.
We've heard from Hopkins.
Ah, yes. Go on then. Hopkins.
Hopkins has an insurance tale.
Oh, okay.
Hopkins had a fender bender. And Hopkins has enclosed a screen grab of the note that was left on his car.
Right. Is this one of these when you have your car is stationary and someone clips it?
So that's not a fender bender, is it? That's
They clipped it.
Yeah. The confidence with which you said that.
I like the
You
term.
were very motoring correspondent from the Times.
The only thing I don't have confidence with is when you operate your horn in a car, do you beep it or do you beep it? Is it BIP or BIB?
I say neither. I say beep.
Do you actually say beep?
I beep my horn.
Beep it, honk.
You're very
on the table.
You're very honk.
I think honk is very American language type.
It's very.
Yes. I honk my horn.
Yeah, exactly.
Repeat after me.
Yeah, because I don't step on my hood.
On the freeway.
So Pierre, isn't that interesting? We're all different. Pierre is a honker. I'm a beeper.
And I'm torn, as ever in my life, uncertain and anxious about whether I should be saying I bibbed my horn or I bipped my horn. Oh, the anguish.
You don't strike me as a horn-friendly or horn-confident person.
I'll only use a horn if the person ahead of me at the light seems to have some sort of colour blindness thing and doesn't see that it's gone green.
Okay.
I'll only use
That's
it. I don't use it much.
Okay.
I think, some people, when you see someone beeps their horn and you look around, you see the bloke and you think, yeah, of course you've done that.
Yes.
My worst honkers are I'm adopting it now. I like
Yeah.
it. Yeah, it's staying. Are the ones who arrive outside someone's house for a lift, maybe,
Oh, yeah.
and they I think, what is this, American graffiti?
That's illegal,
Yeah.
I think,
Is it?
to beep in a stationary vehicle.
Oh, I
Just saying.
hope my neighbour's listening. John Hopkins. This note was left on my car when somebody crashed into it in Tesco's car park a few years ago. I've kept it to remind me just how devious and cunning people can be.
It's good to not forget that.
I don't think you ever do.
No, I don't.
I don't know if it's how I want to start my day.
I mean, you were saying a driver broke your spirit this morning.
I keep a note on how devious and that people can be, but it's actually written on my heart.
Okay. Well, this is... Would you like to hear the contents
Oh, yes.
of the note?
You bet your sweet bippy.
It begins... I would describe the beginning as unpromising.
Okay.
Dear Ford driver,
Okay. Yeah.
I'm really sorry, full stop. Bothered with punctuation in haste, I appreciate respect. Dear Ford driver,
So they do know how to stop.
Yeah. You do know how to come to a full stop. Yeah.
I've crashed into your car. I got the emphasis wrong. I'm really sorry I've crashed into your car. I'm writing this note because people are watching and think I'm leaving my details, which I'm not doing. I'm sorry.
Wow.
Anyhow,
Anyhow.
I hope it doesn't cost you too much to fix. And then it's signed. It's a genuine note here. I've got it. And Hopkins is a trustworthy character.
Yeah.
It's signed with an S. A bit Scarlet Pimpernel.
Yeah.
So,
I mean,
Wow.
I don't...
sorrow, not Zorro.
Yeah.
It is a bit sorrow, not sorrow. Frank, what say you?
Well, there are many things to unpack here. One is the idea of feeling the social pressure I have to leave a note, but then the note making the Ford driver your confidant. So he becomes part of your us against them, even though you've just driven into his car.
It's perverse, isn't it?
It is, but there's something dashing about it as well.
It would, I suppose, when you're there and you think, time to write a fake note, it's harder to summon up something else other than what you're doing. Whereas you would have just written some Hamlet.
Yeah, exactly.
He
A
would.
man can smile and be a villain. Yours, Bill.
B.
Oh, man.
What I like, Frank, though, is the S. It's given him a touch of glamour.
No, I know.
I quite
Or
like
her.
S. Oh, or her. You're absolutely right.
It's a bit something that would happen in Dirty Rotten Scoundrels. It's got that feel to it.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
Yes.
Clive Silas
Oh, yeah.
has been in touch. Like Emily, I'm a southerner who always thought of it as beep. We're talking about horn honking,
Yes.
as Pierre Novelli would describe it, and Frank would describe it as...
Well, either beeping or bibbing.
Okay. One day, whilst driving with my northern girlfriend, another car cut me off, and I was shocked and slightly confused when my girlfriend yelled out, "Bip him!" Could bib be a Midlands compromise?
Well, I said we did say bip as well, I think.
Okay.
So it's another one of those things where you get a little bit north.
I like the concept of a Midlands compromise, though.
Yes.
I don't remember anyone from home being particularly big on compromise of any kind.
That sounds like you.
It's almost the sort of title of a book that you'd buy in an airport, The Midlands Compromise.
Yeah.
And a sort of a silhouette of a revolver.
Yeah, but
John Grisham.
yeah.
Yeah, exactly, yes. Grisham finally tackles the Black Country.
I've played softball with John Grisham.
Shut
you?
up.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
How was he?
He's quite affable.
Was he?
Yeah. That was when I played when Ron Howard played and Meatloaf and...
Meatloaf?
Yeah.
This is a dream you had. What's the
No,
context of this?
his life is really
Oh, my
weird.
God. What?
No, I played in the 1996 All-Star Game celebrity softball at the Philadelphia...
I do
Veterans
remember this,
Stadium in
actually.
Philadelphia.
I remember this.
I used to have a picture of the captain of the team low-fiving me, but the captain of the team got cancelled, so I took that picture off my wall.
Oh, we won't probe.
But, yeah,
Gosh.
Adam Sandler played, and there's all these big names there, and I remember Adam Sandler looking at the crossing out on the team sheet and said, he looked around all these big celebrities and said, let me get this right, Chubby Checker is a no-show?
What a great thing to be able to have said in your life.
Exactly. But yeah, there was all the big names. More of them will come to me.
We've had lots of souvenirs
Oh.
being sent in.
We were talking about when you buy something, you're on a holiday, you're in the country, you get a little bit skittish, and you buy something, and then when you get back, you think, why didn't I buy this thing?
Yeah. Dan
Yeah.
Parsons says it's more of a work trip than a holiday, but I'm starting to think that €300 lederhosen that ended up being single use were not a good investment.
That can't be right, can it?
Well,
300.
they're made of tooled leather. Probably quite expensive. A good
But I
pair
mean,
of-
that was an investment, wasn't it?
Yeah, the lederhosen. I
Yeah.
think this is going to come up every Oktoberfest.
Unless he's got a really big centipede at home.
All right. I bought 3 fuchsia monkeys from a gift shop in Jaipur.
Fuchsia monkeys.
Yeah.
This sounds like a coded message.
Exactly.
3 fuchsia
It's my
monkeys.
life. It was the see no evil, hear no evil, think no evil monkeys.
Oh,
Yeah.
I see.
And they were in a lovely, almost a fuchsia, sort of a felt. I've still got them.
Okay.
I've still got them.
Yeah.
And it was a real impulse buy. And even the guide that I was there with was like, are you sure?
Yeah, really?
Yeah. And I said, they're quite, because they're quite big.
Oh, how big? How tall would
I'll
one of
take a
them
little
be?
picture. Maybe I'll...
I assume they're crouched.
Oh, they're petered. Yes.
Okay, yeah.
They're sitting, they're sort of squatting.
Yeah.
You know
Okay.
how they
No,
do.
I know, yeah. I know that hands over eyes, hands
But
over
I
mouth.
don't know what to do with them. What would
Okay.
you do with
Do you have them on display?
I have them in an office set up. I
Okay.
used to have them in the frontal area, and then I decided they were distracting. I lost confidence in them.
So they're in a back room now. Okay.
It's worse than the Tipton slash
Yeah,
monkey.
you've gone back to the fuchsia.
Frank Skinner on
Absolute Radio.
Ruth Jordan has been in touch. Re the car horn debate. Maybe as well as the words for car horns being different as you travel north, the horns themselves should sound different, like regional accents for cars. What do you think?
I think that's good. I like the idea of crossing the road in Birmingham and they all going, Juh, Juh.
I think the London one should be
Yeah, exactly.
good.
Northern Ireland, Arr! Arr!
Honk.
Arr! Anyway, some comedian at home sitting writing that down and
Yep.
thinking that's in my set.
Do you think
That's
they
sorted.
will?
Oh God, yeah.
People steal. People do steal a lot.
Don't you remember that people are cunning and devious?
Yeah. Where's that note?
Do they break your spirit?
They do sometimes.
I had an unfortunate moment with the person that drove me in this morning, actually, Frank. It wasn't as high drama as yours. It rarely is. But what I would say is that I was at fault here. I'm going to go against the insurance company
We've had
advice.
Pierre saying I've got no idea, and now Emily's saying I was at fault. What's happened to all those things which I hold on to?
I said, as I got in, because I saw... I don't know if I should... Am I allowed to name the company? It's a well-known food delivery service which works for supermarket chains.
Okay.
Are we all on the same page?
I think so.
I said, oh, they arrive so early, these vans, don't they? It's so early. You know, because it's early in the morning. I think it's very... The noise I was making. And he said, I don't think so.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
I think he was making a point that he's the bloke who works through the night. Is
Well,
off
no,
early.
I tell
And
you what
you were
happened.
some.
I continued. I wasn't deterred. I said, no, I'm just saying it is very early. It is very early because it's, you know, and the engine's running. There's a lot of noise. He said, no, I don't agree.
Well,
And so then, as we continued talking, he said he got his phone out. He said, look, I was told to arrive at this time. It's not too early. I said, oh, no, I was saying the van was too early.
oh, okay.
And I said, oh, there's been a misunderstanding. He said, okay. I said, I was making pleasant conversation. He went, okay. That was the last word he said to me.
Gosh.
Right.
Okay.
Ah.
That's
Someone who shouldn't join,
But
say...
that's a chat show compared to my journey.
Just you muttering Hamlet.
Yeah, I was like a silent order of monks for me and this guy.
But I think if you say... I'm just saying, I think I quite liked him, but I was just surprised that he didn't observe the social contract. Is if someone says, oh, I was making conversation, generally you say, oh, right. Okay.
Yeah.
I'll join you. But he chose not to. It's his choice.
Again, I think you have all those sweet softeners sort of chiselled off you if you're dealing with the public
You're
on a
absolutely
regular
right,
basis.
Frank. I apologise to him, though, again. Claire.
And also be good. I'm rehearsing for the advent of the driverless car. That's
Yes.
how I do my journeys in.
Yeah, yes, you...
Completely silent.
Frank, we've got a lot of people with castanets.
Oh, well, yes.
Have you got them?
Have they tried Germaline?
Oh, heaven's sake.
Now, castanets, I can see how that would be a temptation.
Yeah. A lot of people saying, well, I said a lot of people, but we've had... Apparently, you were making the exact noise that people have been thinking of for the Brummie car horn.
Oh.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
Well, it's exactly how it would have been envisaged.
Okay.
The way you did it.
Not far off Clog's castanets. Clogs for the hands.
And one thing I
Imagine
really...
if you had both clogs and castanets.
Yeah, only contacting anything through wood.
Yes.
Oh, that's good practice, of course, for when you die.
Yes.
Anyway.
Absolute radio.
Frank Skinner.
Frank Skinner.
Absolute Radio.
I'll tell you what I did while I was on my last night in Amsterdam. I went to a gig.
Oh.
Took the family. I went to see the Bootleg Beatles.
Did you?
Are you familiar with their work?
Oh,
Yes,
Yes.
I have seen them.
I saw them.
They're along the lines of sort of Noasis and these types.
Well, they're
aren't
better
they?
than those.
Oh, are they?
They are.
Are they good?
They are post tribute.
Oh.
I saw them first in. Would you believe it? In 1980, which I think was the year they began. I saw them at Birmingham Polytechnic.
Gosh.
And now here I am. They lasted so much longer than the Beatles.
That's true.
Is it the same lineup?
No, they have that advantage that they're able to get a new Paul McCartney and a new Ringo and stuff. But they are. It's I would say it's probably better than seeing the Beatles if the Beatles were still going.
Yes.
Okay.
I think that's fair.
I mean,
Because
is
what
it?
they
Yeah.
do the songs. They do the songs you want them to do, the way you want them to do them.
Yeah.
You don't have to, that deal you have to do when you see someone who's been going a long time. I'm going to play stuff from my new album, which you won't like.
No,
Yeah,
I
so-
agree. We don't want to pay the tax of own stuff.
Yes, but not only own stuff. What about abuse of own stuff?
Yeah.
Like I've seen Bob Dylan. I don't know. I've lost count of how many times.
I was going to say new Bob Dylan voice every 10 years.
And Bob Dylan, I saw him one night when every Bob Dylan, so I only recognise them by the lyrics and everything. He actually did every song to the same tune. So he went, how many roads must a man walk down before you call him a man? And then, hey, Mr. Tambourine Man, play a song for me. He just did that all. I mean, don't do them. Don't do it if you're going to do that to them.
It's verging on sarcasm.
It is, yes. It's spite. Anyway, but the Bootleg Beatles just do everything perfectly, sound perfectly. They're not. They're not. No one's wearing a cap, which is another thing that happens if you see a band that's been around a long time. And also, you get that terrible contrast of the young musicians at the back who are supplementing them. None of that.
What era?
No death. No death. Both the dead people were there.
Yeah,
Absolute Radio. Which era do they plump for?
Well, this is it. You see, the first half is the 60s. So you get,
suits and clean cut.
Early 60s, yeah. The what I believe they call the Sullivan suits.
Oh, and hair a bit like a young Dot Cotton. Love it.
The complete fringe mop top. So they do that, and then they go off and they say, "We'll be back in 3 years' time." And they come back, and it's the rooftop gig, Savile Row, and they've become those Beatles. And then they go off again, and then you get the shot of Abbey Road, but it cuts to the feet moving, and they walk in the gear from Abbey Road and do some other later stuff. But they are absolutely brilliant.
Did they do any local gear? So go, and this one's for fans of Peter Polder, and then start sort of downing beer.
They didn't do that. No. They missed that opportunity. They did. I don't know if they always do the Ballad of John and Yoko, but the Ballad of John and Yoko refers to Amsterdam, so that got an enormous cheer. And it reminded me, I saw ABBA. What's the name of that ABBA tribute band? What were they called?
Oh, yes. We know the way. Bjorn Again.
Bjorn Again. I saw Bjorn Again in Glasgow many years ago. And when they did I was sick and tired of everything when I called you last night from Glad, they had to stop the cheer. Just because they had said the name of the place which
Glasgow.
They were before.
Very American.
And Amsterdam went down pretty well, I must say. But they, honestly, I'll tell you more, because I thought they were sensational.
Frank Skinner on
Absolute Radio.
I tell you what, the one thing they let me down.
No, don't let you down.
I was, yeah, exactly. They did that.
Of course they did.
I was hoping that they might go the extra mile and have a Jimmy Nicol lookalike on drums, because they toured. They did gigs in the Netherlands once, in '64, I suppose. And Ringo had tonsillitis and couldn't make it, so they didn't cancel the tour. They got in this guy, Jimmy Nicol. And what if they'd got him in just for the Dutch gigs? If they'd got a lookalike of him.
And then the guy who plays Ringo has a sort of bandage tied over his head.
He comes on at the end. He comes on at the end with lozenges, which they feed to him.
Everyone claps.
But when people, actors, play famous people in films, and they
Michael Sheen.
Yeah, exactly.
An actor plays everybody famous.
No, but lots of people. Daniel Day-Lewis play Lincoln and all this, and they get tremendous plaudits if they do something they gain a stone to play Churchill.
Yes, or do a particularly odd voice.
Yeah,
Gary Oldman, he did Churchill.
Then people think they're amazing. The Paul McCartney. Sings like Paul McCartney. So all those bits in Hey Jude when he goes, all that. He does all that. And he plays the same bass lines. And he looks a bit like him. And he's right-handed. So in order to get in the band, he had to learn to play bass left-handed. God. Isn't that better?
That's deserving of a long and tedious Oscar speech.
Yeah,
Definitely.
exactly.
Well, do they do an encore? Is that built into their set, the bootleg?
Yes, of course you have to end with "Hey Jude," really, if you're the Beatles.
Of course they
so
do,
they ended
yes.
with that. When I was on tour once, every tour, I don't know it is with you, Pierre, but I find I discover what's the big thing that's happening. So I look in the theatre programme. Like I did one tour, and it was me and about 20 spiritualists. It was all.
Yes.
There was a big spiritualist boom, and the last tour I did, it was all tribute band.
Yes, yeah. There's a lot of tribute acts.
Well, the tour you were on.
Yes.
Yeah, there was the theatre programme. Like there was.
Are you saying you're looking at what's coming up after you, essentially?
So I have a look at the programme, see if there's anything I can rip the urine out of
Oh, I
Yes.
see.
on stage, and there was things like there was. We were at a theatre where the Luther Vandross celebration was
Yes.
coming, and I thought,
to great fanfare.
look,
What
yeah.
was the celebration? He ate a lot of cake. In the
Yeah.
80s.
I don't really. I mean, I'm sure there are people listening who love. I wouldn't go and see the Luther Vandross if he was playing in my spare room.
It was there was a lot of very specific tribute acts like that, and then there were a lot of evenings called things like "Those Were the Songs We Loved."
Yeah, exactly. Those crazy 70s.
Yeah, exactly.
And people who hadn't made much effort. Someone who's playing Noddy Alder and then playing Mark Bolan. You think,
Yes.
well, no.
Oh no, you can't. That's a
But the
terrible
Bootleg
one.
Beatles are beyond all that. Because there is this theory, an acting theory, that if you play the same character for a long time, you find yourself becoming them. It's actually there's some actual description of it, like a mental illness thing, and you start to become that person. I asked Richard Wilson if he what he thought. He said he didn't believe it.
God.
Frank Skinner on
Absolute Radio.
This is Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio with Emily Dean and Pierre Novelli. Text the show on 81215. Follow the show on Twitter and Instagram at Frank on the Radio. Email the show via frank@absoluteradio.co.uk. By the way, the next show is going to be pre-recorded for reasons I won't go into. But if you've got anything any thoughts or anything you want to send in advance, then we can do it all on the pre-recorded show.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's good.
So you can. What's the best way? Email? Yeah, email us on, and I'll give you that one more time. You can email us on frank@absoluteradio.co.uk.
Yeah.
Love to hear. You can comment something from today's show, anything you like. Oh, God, that was very radio presenter.
I quite liked it. I
Proud.
liked it. You went, love to hear from you, or something like that. I quite like that.
By the way, when I went to see the Bootleg Beatles...
You've got a bit, if you don't mind me saying, you're quite sort of mention-itis with them. You're quite obsessed with
but
them.
I just wanted to
Chelsea
something
Bootleg.
that happened to me because it's a theme of today's show is getting the car back.
Oh.
That the car booked didn't turn up. I phoned the cab company, and the man said, "I have never heard of you. I have no record. I have no record of who you are." And I said, "Okay." I said, "So it's not going to come?" And he said, "No, I've never heard of you." I said, "Okay. Okay, fair enough." And he said, "Good luck."
It was like he was dumping you.
It's very Dutch.
So I phoned...
Good luck.
I phoned
He said, may
Uber.
the odds forever be in your favour.
Yeah.
I wish you the best, you liar.
So I phoned Uber. Now, I don't know if you've tried to get an Uber in London just lately. It's a bit like trying to get Hawley's Comet. So they usually, you can't get one, they cancel 5 times and all that stuff. In desperation, I called, "Is there in 2 minutes?" "No problem." Very, very nice, charming man. And I thought, I wonder if they're doing a sort of bootleg Uber just for the Bootleg Beatles, like reminding you of the golden age. A tribute cars to when Uber were incredibly efficient and you could get one in
Reliable.
3 minutes notice.
All the old hits.
Exactly.
I'm intrigued by Mr. Good Luck, Good Night and Good Luck.
Yeah.
I mean, what an extraordinary thing to say.
It wasn't the ending I anticipated.
It sounds like you're having quite a bitter breakup with him.
I know, yeah. But it's like he left me on a high.
Oh, it sounds like you've had a fabulous time.
I tell you what, we stayed at quite a posh hotel
Of course you did. You got
Called,
international representation.
called the Dillon. I was drawn in by the name. The Dillon Hotel is lovely, isn't it? It's had a lot of sort of American beautiful people
Oh,
staying there.
Was it sort of Dylan
You know,
themed?
women in suede trousers.
Oh.
Yeah, like that. And people who could sit 4 at a table and all be on their phones and didn't think it was rude in any way. And we went in there yesterday. It was our last day, and my son remembered something that we hadn't done. So we came in from our travels, and we went into the bar, which we hadn't been into before. It was full of the beautiful people. And the woman behind the counter said, "Oh, Mr. Skinner, can I help you?" And I said, "Yes. We've come to spend our drinks vouchers." We forgot we had those, but my son has reminded.
Was your son as determined as you to hit exactly the number on the voucher?
Well, I don't know. There wasn't a number on it. It just said you are entitled to 1 drink at the bar. But I think the idea that we might have gone home and then remembered that was too much to bear. So we went in and got out. It was a lovely moment. And I think helped the beautiful people realise that there's always someone worse off.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
Do you... sorry,
Can I ask a question? This is something that's been... You know, I was talking about if you have a prang, what should you do about it?
Yeah.
There's a thing which I must have mentioned on this show before because it's haunted me for years and I've never really got to the bottom of it. And many legal correspondents might know, but it was always said when I first started driving, which is obviously, it was a long time ago, that if you ran over a dog, you had to report it to the police. If you ran over a cat, it was all right.
Yes.
Drive on.
Yes, I've heard that.
Yeah, is that true? In this era of
Surely
equality,
I think they are different legally. Yeah, I think that is true. I don't know if it's
Does
still
the
true. It
legal-
definitely used to be true.
does the legal profession acknowledge the 9 lives theory?
I think they must. It's a law of nature.
You're absolutely right. It's an odd distinction to make.
It is. Who thought that? Who thought if you run a dog over?
Well,
I
it'll
think
be
it's 'cause-
based on something like Queen Victoria loved a dog.
Or it might be,
Which
if
she
it
did.
goes back far enough where a dog was like often a working animal.
I think it's because dogs have jobs.
Well, speak for yourself. My
Yeah, sorry.
dog literally gets up at 11:30. I'll go back now. He'll still be sleeping. He'll be furious I've woken him up.
Well, your dog is an influencer. That's Ray's job.
My dog's an emperor.
My
Yes.
dog at about 9:30 goes to bed with one of those terrible whale eye style look backs that say, "Do you get the hint?"
Would you
Your-
mind?
Your
Exactly.
dog has
Keep the noise down.
your dog has very expressive eyes.
Oh yeah, beautiful
Now,
eyes,
listen.
I would say.
Would you like to hear what Rod from the West Midlands? Oh, that's near you, isn't it, Frank?
It is.
Rod has a frankly terrifying tale of things brought back from holiday.
Okay.
Frank, I brought back some dried chilies from a trip to Mexico.
I can see the temptation. You're in Mexico. Da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Yeah, let's get some chilies. We'll eat them all the time when we get home.
And you-
Da-da-da-da-da-da-da.
And you think these must be the chilies.
Yeah.
I like Frank's idea
Yeah, we
of a
won't be
trip
able
to
to get-
Mexico. It's like a Disney film.
We won't be able to get chilies in London.
Yeah.
So let's take these back. Na-na-na-na-na-na-na-na.
Well, you don't want to get what I encountered, as you know, in Mexico, which is an hombre grande.
What was that?
Well, no, that was when the tour guide said, this American woman said, just so you know, we're getting on the coach, we have an hombre grande with us.
Wow.
It's a way of explaining the gentleman was large.
Yeah.
Anyway, back to Rod from the West Midlands, on his way home from Mexico with the chilies. Unbeknown to me, they contained a small beetle, these chilies.
Okay.
Over a few months, they contaminated the cupboards in our kitchen. All herbs and spices had to be thrown out. My wife, Wendy, painstakingly removed the intruder, only for them to return 6 months later and contaminate again. Only the last 3 years have been bug-free, but we've learnt our lesson.
Wow.
A different kind of bootleg beetle.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
079 has an answer to your question regarding why it's illegal, or we've always assumed it's
You
been
have to report running over a dog, yeah.
whereas... Not
Well, this is how it used to be. If you
With
run
cats.
over a cat, you don't have to.
we have an answer. I trust Georgia in Southport
Okay.
because she describes herself thus. Hi, Frank. Legal eagle here.
Okay.
Legal eagle. The dog and cat rule was a thing. However, last year, it actually became illegal in relation to cats too.
Oh, only last year.
Gosh.
David Baddiel will be relieved. He loves a cat.
He does, yeah.
Yeah. And then Frank Skinner, 928, has said, interesting formality.
Yeah.
I like Frank Skinner.
Yes.
Bit like they're leaving a note on your car, dear Mr. Ford driver.
It's not from S, is it?
Do you know, I think S might be my type. I like the sound of S. The mystery, the disappearing. I like it.
It would be a different story if that note had been left on a dog.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's true.
Frank Skinner, dogs were licensed, hence why you had to report hitting a dog. That's from
yeah.
Moira in Harrow.
But that suggests, Moira, that you don't have to report running over a dog now because they're no longer licensed.
Some of the other messages have said this.
So now I can run over any pets I like.
Oh, Frank, don't say
Hold on,
that.
I'm suggesting.
You got to end the show early.
I think you should. You see, there is an argument.
Rush out the
Why
door.
do you take it that far?
Well, no, because there is an argument that you are better driving over a cat or a dog than swerving violently because you might affect another motorist. But it's all based on whether you see human beings as the stewards of creation and animals as some lesser creatures.
Well, I know your strange views on that.
No, but some
You've
people...
met my dog. How can you say he's a lesser creature? He's
Look,
a king.
I don't... Well, anyway, can he speak? I think we know the answer to that.
He can, because I've
cannot.
got... Listen,
Can he text in?
he's got special buttons, which my best
Has
friend
he?
bought him. Yeah, you
Don't
can-
ever touch those.
and you record your voice saying certain things. So I've recorded my voice onto, and you teach them how to press them.
That
you
is
s-
made up.
It's not. Have you not seen this online? It's genuinely it's a thing now. There's a whole book. There's a whole industry around it. I've recorded myself saying "toilet, please," and
The dog presses the toilet please button.
I mean,
But does he, or is this a theory?
no, my dog's paws aren't big enough to reach the buzzers.
Oh, well, that
unfortunately.
excuse.
I'm going to show you a talking dog that's going to blow your mind in a minute.
My dog's paws are so big that a piano playing is a little fuzzy.
I'm going to get revenge on you by teaching your dog when you're not there to say things like atheism.
I'm off to bed.
Yes.
A dog can press the button with the message that it wants to.
Yes, there's a woman who invented it, and it's what happens.
I'm sure there's a woman who invented it.
Frank, when you see it, it will blow your mind. They had the dog pressing things like, "Don't leave me."
Why do they do it in that voice? We could just do a normal voice if it's recorded.
We have the technology.
Yeah, exactly. They don't have to go, don't leave me. That's not necessary.
This is Frank Skinner. This is
Absolute Radio.
I showed Frank Skinner the talking dog, one of the many, but Bunny was one of the originals.
The OG.
The OG. Frank, are you... I mean, I think you're coming round to the idea.
Well...
Oh, here we go.
The dog did stand on an elaborate mat of buttons
Yeah.
and said things like, want to play now. But if a dog was...
Dear?
What if the dog's just walking across the mat?
Yeah.
Want to play now, fish soup, sedation, and then it's on. What is it? Multiple choice
what a
with
day.
these dogs. I know, yeah.
A bit of a play, some fish soup, and then a
And then if you could just knock me out for, say, 6 to 8 hours.
I love fish soup sedation. It sounds sort of like, I don't know.
That could be
kind
a
of
band.
Like quite a poetic day.
Yeah.
Possibly someone like Ibsen might have had a day like that.
Yeah.
Fish soup sedation. Frank, Lorraine Purdy has been in touch, just FYI. In Scotland, we say toot the horn. That's Lorraine from
Toot.
Glasgow.
Okay.
It's a good word for a Scottish accent as well.
And, of course, it's in the Frank Sinatra song, one of the best descriptions of Peru maybe ever.
What's that?
Come fly with me, let's float down to Peru. In Llama Land, there's a one-man band that'll toot his flute for you.
Can I say, I think that's at least makes up for She's Broke But It's Oak.
Oh, I
I've
quite
never got over it. I
quite
never
like
will.
that. Fair enough.
Okay.
What about what's the other one? Dance about dancing. Hey there, toots. Put on your dancing boots. Come dance with me. Come dance with me. What an evening for some terpsichore. I mean, respectamundo.
Okay.
What else is happening?
Well, there's a lot happening here, but we've had a lot of people. I mean, people are obsessed by this cats and dogs thing, Frank.
Yes.
Did people not know, or did people think differently?
A lot of people are agreeing about the licensed
Right, okay.
Yes.
element. We're also having some people really enjoying your poetry podcast, may I say,
Oh, lovely.
which you should listen to.
There will be a new one out on Wednesday featuring, I think, Simon Armitage.
Oh, lovely.
Who's written a poem. The poem I feature is maybe a subject you wouldn't think of as naturally poetic, but he does it brilliantly. Check it out.
Oh.
Do you think you could train your dog to press a button labelled poetry? Or poetry
Oh,
reading?
what about the first lines of poems? Oh, that would be good,
yes.
Frank. I'd love that if Poppy did that.
But you know what it's going to be? It's going to be, oh, yeah, so poetry, park, anal gland surgery. What do you want? Oh, man.
The creepiest is when the dogs express emotion. I agree, because when I've seen the talking dogs, and I have seen them a lot, they say things like, I don't like it anymore.
Oh,
That's horrible.
my partner says that without the aid of a mat.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
Would you like to hear from 474?
Who wouldn't?
Okay. Hi, Frank and team. The reason you didn't have to report cats is they're classed as free spirits, but dogs...
By who?
Let me finish.
Okay.
But dogs are owned. The same as you can't be sued if a cat damages your car, but you can if a dog does. That is from Sarah in Hinckley.
I see.
I suppose that makes sense, in at least as much as you should have your dog trained and cats. It's who knows.
Yeah.
Well, there used to be a thing that my dad used to say, that if our dog got into someone's garden or vice versa, you could do something about it.
Yeah.
But a cat, he always used to use the phrase, and I don't know if this is a legal term, he said cats have roving commission. And he always said it as if it was a legal term.
Well, it's in the same ballpark as legal tender, roving commission.
Or off the free spirit category, which are 747?
Yeah, 474, almost.
Well, yeah, I knew it was an anagram of an aeroplane.
Officially classed as a free spirit.
I
Yeah,
think
It's a
what
bit of a
lovely-
contradiction, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
I would say...
I'm formally classing it.
You see,
I
when
think
they
most
say...
free spirits like to think they're unclassifiable, but oh no, they still end up pigeonholed.
You
And
see,
a cat doesn't want to be pigeonholed.
Most free spirits end up making bad life partners as well.
Have they put the cat amongst the pigeonholes?
You see, dogs being owned, Frank Supervet once told me that he doesn't like people referring to being owners of dogs. He said, you can't own animals. We're our guardians whilst they're here. We're their guardians whilst they're here, which I thought was rather lovely.
Yeah.
I
It
don't
wasn't
Yeah.
the
Maybe they'd
response I
like
was
to
hoping
pay for their own food and veterinary treatment if we don't own them.
Yeah, where's the button on the match for that?
Yeah, exactly.
What are your bank details?
Does the dog have a button?
Will a check do?
Yeah, what if that dog starts ordering online once it's got button literate? Oh,
Size
man.
XXL, please.
Oh man!
Oh, I'm going to train
What?
your
There's
dog.
8 squirrels in a cardboard box on Amazon?
Sorry, that's one of mine.
Oh, okay,
Okay.
Rex.
Rex.
As long as you pay your
Rex,
rent.
I've told you about.
Who's called someone a dog in the Rex in the last 30 years?
Okay. Hello, is that Ocado? We got a delivery for Rex. Rex? How many times have I said? What's that? 9 tins of meat and a frisbee? We'll see, in 10 years' time,
Yeah.
Yeah.
obviously this won't bother me, but in 10 years' time,
Yeah.
we'll see it as a normal thing that dogs speak to their owners and say what they want.
Yeah, you've come round to the idea now.
Things do
You-
change. Well, you know, when I was growing up, children didn't tell adults what they wanted.
Well,
They
when you
just
were
took
growing up,
potluck.
You knew one bloke who's been on a plane once, and he turned out to be the same bloke
Who had a
who
car.
had a car.
Yeah. Reader, I married him. Couldn't do that then either, of course. It's different times. Different times. We didn't have marriage when I was a kid. You just jumped over the broom together. That was official. Free spirits, as the cat world would say. What if you got a dead cat ghost? What would that be?
Oh, Frank.
Oh, yeah.
So, did you think the cats press the buttons, Frank?
If I ran over someone's cat, I think I'd knock on their door and say, before we begin, what's your view on the 9 lives theory? Let's clear that up.
It was terrifying. You would do that.
Yes, before we begin, I must ask, has this happened exactly 8 times before?
Yeah. The thing is, when the cat's missing, and you're claiming that no knowledge of it, but then there's a fresh grave on the top of the garden. Anyway, enough of that. Obviously, we love cats. I don't actually. I'm allergic to them. They can take their chances out there, as far as I'm concerned. And the first 2 episodes of Frank Skinner's Poetry Podcast, the new series, are out now. And, there's loads of them. And episode 3, which, as I say, features Simon Armitage, will be out on Wednesday. And what about this? Download it from wherever you get your podcasts. People listening at home will think, he just said that off the top of his head. You could tell he did it so naturally. Okay, well, it's been lovely. Like I said, we are pre-recording the next show. So if any contact, if you just email us over the next few days, and the producer may or may not remember to check that out. We'll find out.
Yeah. Might get some dogs pressing buttons.
Oh, God, that'd be great. You
I
get
hate
people
you,
posing,
Frank
they're
Skinner.
posing as dogs. We'll get an email that says, grrr. Anyway, if the good Lord spares us and the creeks don't rise, we'll be back again this time next week. Now get out.
This is Frank Skinner. Beatles.
Absolute Radio.